It's a USC Wednesday night on Mark Rogers TV, and we're talking spring ball with the Trojans just about halfway through the sessions here in March and April. We bring in Nick Dempsey from Conquest Chronicles to give us the latest. Nick, it's been a little while. You've been on the basketball trail, but we're going to pull you back into football.
Yeah, it's good to be home. I do want to say congratulations to the USC basketball team. They made a heck of a tournament run. I don't think anyone expected them to get that far, or certainly not compete that well with Baylor, but good on them. But it's a football show, so spring practice is going pretty well. The team just had last week off for spring break. A lot of guys took that opportunity to go home, see their families. Some guys had to use that opportunity to get healthy. Josh Imator Bebe had a stomach bug and lost, according to him, about 20 pounds because of that stomach bug. And so he had to spend his spring break getting better and eating food, basically. So a lot of guys are back from that. The wide receiver position is actually really starting to heat up. Last year, there was Sam Darnold really did a great job spreading the ball around, but a lot of the top talent is leaving, particularly Juju Smith-Schuster. So they're looking for a lot of guys to step up. Imator Bebe is one of them. He's been putting in the extra time when he's not dealing with stomach bug issues. He said he's ready to step up and be the main guy, but he needs to work on his nerves. You also have a redshirt freshman guy by the name of Tyler Vaughns. He's really come on strong as well. He's been spending extra time, really putting in the work. They moved Keyshawn Young, who's a DB, moved him over to wide receiver permanently. He's focusing on that now. And then Jalen Green, who's spent time at both quarterback and wide receiver, is focusing primarily on the wide receiver position. And that's in addition to all the guys that are back from last year who you really saw stepped up when Sam Darnold started making his run. So they're looking for the new number one. It's going to be I think it might be the most interesting positional battle this spring and into fall camp for sure, because there's just so much talent. We don't know who's running the show there. The defense also is stepping up. They got to replace Adoree Jackson in particular at defensive back, and they have a couple guys, including freshman Jamal Cook, who he's really been spending a lot of time at nickel. They found he is incredibly good at pass rushing off the edge, and he's starting to show pass coverage skills that would make him a good DB just in general, not even at the nickel slot. And this kid's a redshirt freshman, so it's going to be pretty interesting to see where Cook comes. And then a lot of what they've been doing is they had that new running back coach come in, so they're getting everybody, particularly on the running back side, comfortable with him. The defense in particular has really been putting an emphasis on creating turnovers, especially passes. And so a huge part of that is getting into passing lanes. So the defensive backs are going to have to step up and be huge. And then the other part of that is getting pressure on the quarterback to force some bad passes. So I would expect USC, if things continue to progress, see a lot more turnovers and extra possessions for them, which could be huge going forward. But the critical thing here is they got about 4 weeks left of spring ball. They're going to go 6 days a week, 3 days of practices and 3 days of meetings. And now I know, 3 days of meetings doesn't exactly sound sexy, but with all of the hyper talented, these last couple recruiting classes have been great. They got a lot of hyper talented but young kids that need to figure out the program, how to play at the college ball. And sometimes you got to just sit in meetings and understand the playbook and the system and go through those things. So there's going to be a lot of development that we're never going to sort of directly see that comes out of these next 4 weeks. But in terms of just getting guys up to speed and learning how to play and win at college football at USC, those 4 weeks of meetings are actually going to be pretty huge. So it's grinded out time. After these 4 weeks, they'll take a little bit off for the summer, and then we're back to football already. So really exciting time for these guys.
So Nick, after a long day of meetings, I exactly wanted to hear you talk about more meetings. So I start to cringe when you bring up the M word, because I'm sure I've got more on tap for tomorrow. But yes, it is important that the young guys get the concepts down.
Mm-hmm.
We know that they can run and run forever, and the physical aspect will come more easily for some than for others, versus the mental aspect. So
Yeah, it's, and again, it's I'm sure their meetings are probably a lot more exciting than yours or mine. I don't know, maybe you watch game tape at your meetings, who knows? It's tough to say, but I don't. So and it's a lot of it's just not only learning it but mastering it, so it becomes second nature. So when it's, a minute left in the Rose Bowl and somebody's got to step up and make an interception, those sort of things become intuitive. And again, it's not exciting, but this is where it starts. This is how you get those interceptions. This is how you beat an incredible team like Penn State in the Rose Bowl. And so, and these guys are young, they're going to get there, but they got to put in the work. And sometimes that work, yes, does involve meetings, and I'm sure taking notes.
And considering where I work, if I brought that up, watching game tape, it wouldn't be completely laughable, but in the end, it just wouldn't fly. Just not really part of my job description. Nick Dempsey from Conquest Chronicles joins me each and every Wednesday night as we break down the USC Trojans. Actually, Nick breaks them down. I just sit and I'm just a captive audience. But once they start playing in the fall, I've got a little bit more to add when I watch these guys play. So we give Nick all the boring analysis, and then I just watch the games with him, and we both can chime in. So it's always a good time. Thanks a lot, Nick.
Anytime, Mark.